For God's sake, someone stop that tiger. It's not just running wild, it could kill an innocent person any second.
For 15 years, Leo Chapman thought he'd tamed the wild. Out in the hills just outside Austin, Texas, he built his life around a creature most people only see behind bulletproof glass, a Bengal tiger named Khan. Leo wasn't rich, wasn't famous. He lived in a modest one-story ranch house with a barn converted into an exotic animal sanctuary. No assistants, no spotlight, just Leo Khan in the kind of quiet bond that made people stop and watch. Now, before we go any further, if you love powerful, true stories about animals, loyalty, and the fine line between love and danger, go ahead and subscribe to Animal Story. We bring you emotional, real-life tales that will grip your heart and make you think twice about the world we share with these incredible creatures. All right, back to Leo and Khan. Leo first met Khan when he was barely bigger than a house cat, orphaned sick, and smuggled into the U.S. through a backdoor exotic pet trade. Most cubs like him don't survive long. But Leo had spent years working as a wildlife medic in rescue centers, and something in those deep amber eyes pulled at him. He filed for legal custody through a wildlife rehabilitation permit. That process took nearly a year. By the time he got the green light, Khan was already attached. The cub would cry when Leo left the room and fall asleep with his oversized paws across Leo's boot. They say you can't form a bond with something that could eat you, Leo once told a local newspaper. But that just means they've never tried. He wasn't naive. Leo built a double-reinforced enclosure, consulted with behavioral scientists, and trained Khan every single day, not with fear, but with routine reward and relentless patience. The townsfolk called him the Tiger Man. People in nearby Round Rock would bring their kids out on weekends just to catch a glimpse, but Leo never charged a dime. "This ain't a zoo," he'd say, smiling as Khan rubbed his giant head against the fence. "It's trust, pure and simple." And it really was. Over the years, Khan became more than just an animal. He was family. Leo had no kids, no spouse, but he had Khan, who padded beside him during morning walks, roared in response, when Leo sang old country songs, and once even laid across Leo's porch like a sunbathing lion. But there was always that edge, the what if. Leo knew it, felt it. There were days when Khan would freeze mid-step, head tilted, some ancient instinct flickering behind his golden eyes. A twitch, a growl that sounded more primal than familiar. Moments where Leo would stop breathing for half a second, then laugh it off. That's just him being wild, he told himself. He's never hurt a soul. But wild doesn't mean evil, and love doesn't mean safe. Next time, we'll take you inside the day everything fell apart. A storm, a gate left ajar, and a tiger's first step toward freedom and fear. Before you go, don't forget to subscribe to Animal Stories so you don't miss what happens next. This tale's just beginning, and it only gets more intense from here. It happened on a Sunday, April 16th, the kind of spring day in Texas where the sun roasts the pavement by noon and the sky turns charcoal by evening. Weather alerts had been flashing all weekend, tornado watch, hail threats, powerline warnings. But Leo wasn't worried about the weather. His only concern was Khan. He had just finished his usual morning routine, freshwater meat prep, 2 rounds of clicker training. Khan had been restless lately, pacing more, growling at sounds from the tree line. Leo figured it was the approaching storm messing with his instincts. "You all right, big guy?" Leo asked, hand resting on the fence as Khan brushed against the bars. The tiger let out a soft chuff, then trotted back into the enclosure's shelter. By 9:00 p.m., thunder was cracking over the hills and rain poured like someone had ripped a hole in the sky. The power flickered twice and then cut completely. Leo lit a lantern and checked the fuse box. Nothing. He didn't know it yet, but the electronic lock on Khan's gate, the one with the backup generator, he hadn't replaced since December, had short-circuited. And at 11:41 p.m., somewhere between a loud thunderclap and Leo dozing off in his recliner, the tiger walked free. The first call came in at 6:02 a.m. "Is this the guy with the tiger?" A panicked voice shouted over the line. "He's out. The tiger's out. I saw it on Route 67 by the church." Leo dropped his coffee. Within 20 minutes, he was out the door in boots. No socks. Heart pounding. He drove with one hand while calling the sheriff with the other. He could barely get the words out. "My tiger. He escaped. Khan's loose." The dispatcher had already heard. There were 3 sightings in under an hour. One near a gas station in Cedar Park, another at a daycare playground, and the most chilling, a dash cam recording showing Khan crossing a 2-lane road, pausing mid-lane, as if confused, then leaping into the woods. Sirens began howling. School lockdowns were issued. News choppers took to the sky. Leo's chest caved in as the magnitude hit him. He wasn't just a man who lost his pet. He was now the man who'd unleashed 500 pounds of apex predator into a suburb with kids on scooters and moms pushing strollers. He found Khan's muddy paw prints near the fence line. He followed them barefoot through wet grass and briars until they disappeared at a drainage pipe leading under the road. "God, no," he whispered. Leo knew this wasn't Khan's fault. The tiger didn't choose freedom. It was handed to him through human error, through Leo's own neglect, a backup generator he meant to fix but didn't. One loose wire between peace and panic. By noon, the entire area was in a frenzy. People posted videos from their porches, blurry footage of Khan trotting past trash cans or crouched behind a row of bushes, his orange fur rippling like fire under morning light. "Lock your doors," one woman cried on a live stream. "This thing is huge. It looked me in the eyes, like it knew me," and others were less compassionate. "He's gonna kill someone," one man said. "Shoot it. Don't wait for a kid to get mauled." Leo sat in his truck, soaked phone buzzing with reporters, animal control, and strangers calling him a monster. And all he could think about was Khan. Was he scared? Hungry? Was he already hurt? Or was he running towards something or away from everything? Next time, the city descends into fear. Siren search teams in a moment when love and regret collide in the darkest corner of the woods. And hey, if you haven't yet subscribed to Animal Story so you can follow the rest of this gripping true tale, it's just getting started. By Monday morning, Austin felt like a city under siege. Traffic lights blinked yellow with no cars in sight. Playgrounds sat empty swings swaying gently in the breeze. Police cruisers blocked off roads leading into the wooded neighborhoods of Cedar Park and Brushy Creek. Helicopters droned overhead like angry wasps. It didn't feel like Texas anymore. It felt like a wildlife documentary turned horror show. And at the center of it all was a tiger named Khan. The first true scare came at 7:48 a.m. when an elderly woman walking her dog near a greenbelt trail reported hearing a low growl. Her golden retriever froze tail tucked. The bushes rustled, and then those eyes. It wasn't like seeing a wild animal, she told the news later, shaking. It was like meeting something ancient, something that didn't belong here. The woman ran, the dog followed. No one was hurt, but the fear spread like a spark on dry brush. By 9 a.m., city officials declared a state of emergency in Williamson County. Schools stayed closed, businesses locked their doors, and over 80,000 residents were advised to stay indoors. Meanwhile, social media exploded. TikToks of blurry paw prints in backyards, a video of Khan crossing a suburban street, tail flicking like a whip. "This ain't the zoo anymore," someone tweeted. "This is Jumanji." But no one was laughing. Behind-the-scenes teams mobilized fast. Game wardens, local police, and even a big cat specialist flown in from California set up command posts. Drones equipped with thermal cameras combed the forest edge. A convoy of animal control vehicles formed a perimeter. And then there was Leo. He refused to stay home. With a tranquilizer rifle borrowed from animal control and a worn photo of Khan as a cub in his jacket pocket, he walked the trails he used to share with the tiger. Every broken branch, every rustle in the leaves made his stomach knot. Connie called softly over and over, "It's me, buddy. I'm here." He knew the tiger was watching. Tigers don't run blindly, they observe, they stalk. Somewhere out there in the tangle of trees and fences, Khan was hiding and waiting. At 2:11 p.m., the situation escalated. A man in his 30s was trimming hedges near a church parking lot when he looked up and saw Khan standing 15 feet away. No sound, no growl, just that still, eerie silence big cats carry with them. He backed up slowly. Khan held his gaze. Then a dog barked in the distance and Khan bolted. The man collapsed to his knees. He wasn't touched. But the city had seen enough. Snipers were now added to the equation. Officials called it non-lethal preparedness, but Leo knew better. The pressure was mounting. If something didn't change soon, they were going to put Khan down. That night, Leo sat on the tailgate of his truck staring at the trees. "I raised him like a son," he whispered to the game warden beside him. "But I forgot he was born wild." The warden didn't answer, because sometimes there's nothing to say when the line between love and danger blurs this hard. By Tuesday morning, they had Khan cornered. Thermal drones picked up a heat signature along the banks of Brushy Creek just beyond an abandoned train yard where rusted boxcars lean like tombstones. The brush was thick, the ground muddy from the storm, and the silence complete. No birds, no breeze, just the nervous crackle of radios and the sound of boots on wet leaves. Leo stood just outside the perimeter, hands trembling around the tranquilizer rifle slung over his shoulder. His flannel shirt was soaked with sweat. He hadn't slept in 2 nights. "Let me go in first," he told the game warden. The man hesitated. "Leo, we can't risk. He knows me. If anyone can calm him down, it's me." The warden looked at the sniper posted on the ridge above, then nodded. 15 minutes, he said. "That's all I can give you." Leo stepped past the tree line and into the clearing. The train yard smelled like rust and wet cedar. A tarp flapped in the wind, and then movement. There he was, Can, crouched between 2 derailed boxcars, his amber eyes locked on Leo. His striped coat was matted with mud and burrs, his chest rising and falling in slow, deliberate rhythm. But he wasn't snarling. He wasn't hunting. He looked tired, Leo whispered, dropping the rifle at his feet and raising his hand slowly. "It's okay, buddy. I'm not here to hurt you." The tiger didn't move. Leo took another step. His boot crunched gravel. Khan's ears twitched. "You remember this shirt?" Leo chuckled nervously. "You used to chew on the sleeve when you were a cub. Damn thing still has the holes." He was 15 feet away now. And for a moment, just a moment, the tiger's body relaxed. Leo knelt, slowly reaching into his jacket pocket, pulling out a raw chicken breast he'd brought just in case. He held it out, palm open. Khan sniffed the air, took one cautious step. Then the wind shifted. A branch snapped somewhere behind them, maybe a tech, maybe a deer, and Khan's instincts kicked in. He growled low in guttural spinning to face the noise. That was all it took. A crack split the air. The sniper had fired. Not a kill shot, not yet, but the dart struck Khan's back leg. The tiger roared in pain, staggering sideways, slamming against the train car. His eyes went wide, wild. And then he turned back toward Leo. Not with rage, not with blame, but with betrayal. Leo lunged forward. No! No, he wasn't going to attack. He was coming with me. But Khan was already crashing through the underbrush, disappearing into the trees. They tracked his blood trail for 3 more hours. By dusk, they found him curled up beneath a willow tree near the edge of the creek, breathing shallow, eyes barely open. The tranquilizer had done its job too well. His body couldn't handle the stress. Leo collapsed beside him, cradling the tiger's head in his lap. "I'm sorry," he whispered, tears cutting tracks through the dirt on his cheeks. "I'm so damn sorry." Can let out one final chuff, soft, almost like a sigh, and then he was gone. News broke across every major network by nightfall. Escaped tiger dies after citywide search. Most folks felt relief. A few mourned, some blamed Leo, others defended him, but no one forgot. Not that week, not that year. The morning after Khan's death, Leo didn't turn on the news. He didn't have to. The headlines were already waiting for him outside, stuffed into his mailbox, popping up on neighbors' phones, blaring from truck radios in town. Tiger trainer's mistake ends in blood. Exotic pet gone wild. Who's really to blame? A predator among us and the man who let it loose. His name, his face, his life all over the internet. Overnight, Leo went from a quiet animal lover to the man America wanted answers from. And answers weren't easy to come by. A week later, he stood in front of a county board hearing. His flannel shirt was tucked in, his beard trimmed, but his hands still shook. The room was packed, reporters, wildlife experts, moms with their kids, and more than a few folks who didn't care what the truth was. They just wanted someone to blame. Leo cleared his throat. The microphone squeaked. "I didn't think this would ever happen," he said softly. "But that doesn't mean I didn't know it could." Some scoffed. One woman in the back whispered, "Then why risk it?" Leo didn't snap, didn't raise his voice. Instead, he told them about the day he found Khan in a basement crate, about the nights he stayed up feeding him through a bottle, about the training, the enrichment, the hours spent making sure the tiger was never bored, never aggressive, always seen. And then he paused. "But love doesn't cancel out risk," he said, "and respect doesn't replace responsibility. I love that animal, but I didn't protect him from the world or the world from him. That's on me." The room went quiet. No applause, no jeers, just silence. The legal fallout came fast. Leo's license was revoked. His property was searched. He was fined for failing to maintain backup power for an animal containment system, a violation he never contested. But the deeper punishment wasn't legal. It was personal. The sanctuary closed, neighbors stopped waving, the mailbox filled with hate mail. One man even threw raw meat at his front door. He spent days sitting on the porch watching the empty enclosure out back, haunted by what once was. He'd walk inside sometimes not to clean, not to repair, just to stand in the middle of the space where Khan used to sleep, breathing in the ghost of his presence. He didn't sell the property, didn't move, because in some strange way, leaving felt like running. And Leo never ran from what he did. One night, a college student from UT Austin showed up asking for an interview. She was writing a thesis on animal ethics. "I'm not here to attack you," she promised. "I just want to understand." Leo looked her in the eye. "You want to understand," he said. "Then write this down. No matter how close you get to a wild animal, it will never be tame. It'll just trust you until something snaps and instinct comes back like a freight train. That doesn't make the animal bad, it makes it wild. And it makes us arrogant for ever thinking otherwise." 3 years passed. The grass grew tall around the old enclosures. The Tiger Man's ranch sign faded under the Texas sun, its paint peeling its corners cracked. Most people forgot. The headlines stopped. The world moved on. But Leo didn't. He still lived there, not out of pride or shame, but because it was the only place that still felt honest. Every morning he brewed black coffee and sat on the porch facing the rusted gate where Khan once stood, tail flicking like a slow metronome. And every night he walked the perimeter of the empty pen. Habit, or maybe grief in disguise. People still stop by ice sometimes. Not many. A few animal lovers, a couple of tourists who'd heard the story on a podcast. But most came quietly, like pilgrims visiting a site of quiet tragedy. One day, a teacher from Houston brought a group of high school students. She knocked softly and asked if Leo would speak to them. He hesitated, then nodded. They sat on the back porch. Teenagers fidgeted with phones. A few whispered to each other, unsure what to expect. Leo didn't preach. He didn't quote stats or point fingers. He just told them the story, raw, human, messy. And when he was done, he said this: "Loving an animal doesn't make you wise. Respecting its nature does." I thought I could have both. I thought I could love the wild without consequences. But nature doesn't compromise. It waits. And when we slip, it reminds us. The group fell silent. Even the restless ones leaned in. A girl raised her hand. "If you could go back, would you still raise him?" Leo looked out at the trees for a long time. "I'd still love him," he said. "But maybe I'd have found a way to let him stay wild. Maybe love means letting go before it breaks." That talk became a ripple. Clips spread online. A nonprofit reached out. A documentary crew followed. And slowly Leo turned his pain into something else, something that mattered. He partnered with wildlife sanctuaries across the country, speaking about animal containment laws, the exotic pet trade, and the thin, dangerous line between ownership and obsession. He pushed for stronger licensing regulations, better emergency protocols, and education programs in schools. Not because he wanted redemption, but because no one else should have to learn the way he did by losing the thing they love most. There's a small stone marker now under the willow tree by the creek. No cage, no spotlight, just a bronze plate worn by weather that reads, "Khan, he trusted me. I failed him. Let this never happen again." Leo visits that marker every Sunday. Sometimes he brings flowers. Sometimes he just sits. And when people ask him why he still lives there, why he doesn't move, doesn't start over, he answers the same way every time. Because this isn't just where it ended, it's where I learned what wild really means. Now we want to hear from you. What does it mean to truly love a wild animal? Is it enough to feed it, raise it, bond with it? Or does real love mean respecting the limits, even when your heart begs you not to? Let us know in the comments. And if this story stayed with you, subscribe to Animal Story. We tell the tales that most people are too afraid to face because sometimes the most powerful stories are the ones that break your heart.